Every moment you react without thinking, every time you let your emotions take control, you are handing the keys of your life to something weaker than you. And weakness is hungry. It will consume your discipline, your focus, your ambition, until all that's left is someone you don't recognize, someone who hesitates, someone who plays small. You weren't built for small. You were built for storms, for pressure, for challenge, and not just to survive them, but to rise through them. But here's the truth. Every time you let fear steer your mind, you step further away from your potential. Every outburst, every anxious spiral, every knee-jerk reaction is a step backward. And mediocrity, it thrives on those tiny unconscious steps. The world doesn't reward emotion. It rewards control. If you want to lead, if you want to command your path, then master your mind. Because the strongest people you know, they aren't cold. They aren't robotic. They've just made one decision. I will not give power to things that don't deserve it. Read that again. Your peace is too expensive to give away for free. Your purpose is too heavy to be thrown off course by every petty opinion, every minor inconvenience, every temporary emotion. You think you're stuck? You're not stuck. You're just reacting instead of choosing. And reaction is a thief. It steals your time. It steals your clarity. It steals your power to shape your reality. You must become obsessed with non-reaction, not because you're numb, but because you're sharp, because you're focused, because you've chosen to build a life that can't be swayed by nonsense. Your future demands presence. It demands resilience. And most of all, it demands discipline of the mind. The world is a battlefield of distraction. Everyone wants a piece of your attention. They want you triggered, emotional, unbalanced. Why? Because the moment you lose control, you become easy to manipulate. But the calmest person in the room, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't rant, doesn't fold, that person owns the room, without speaking, without trying. Because composure is currency, and silence, when mastered, speaks louder than chaos ever could. So understand this. There is no strength in reacting to everything. There is no greatness in taking offense to everything. There is no leadership in being pulled in every direction. Only focus builds legacies. Only emotional control earns respect. Only unshakable calm wins in the long game. So when the insult comes, stay still. When the pressure hits, breathe deeper. When fear whispers, listen. But don't obey, because you're not here to be ruled by noise. You're here to command it. And when the world realizes that it can't move you, that nothing rattles you, that's when the game changes. That's when people start watching. Not because you're loud, but because you're something rare. A mind that cannot be moved. Every excuse costs you clarity. Every reaction costs you control. And every moment you spend wrapped up in emotion is a moment you could have used to build something unshakable. No more giving away power. No more apologizing for being focused. No more negotiating with mediocrity. From now on, your silence will speak. Your presence will lead, and your mind will remain untouchable. Because once you master this, once you make stillness your strength, nothing and no one can stop you. Let me make something clear. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your standards. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You need to own it. Silently, powerfully, relentlessly. The world has trained you to react, to take things personally, to spiral into emotion at the slightest trigger. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Every reaction is a distraction, and distraction is the enemy of greatness. Because while you're busy being offended, someone else is building. While you're arguing to protect your ego, someone else is stacking wins in silence. While you're emotional, someone else is disciplined. So ask yourself, do you want to be right or do you want to rise? Do you want to be seen or do you want to be respected? There is a difference between power and performance. Power doesn't need to perform. It just is. So stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your vision. Stop wasting energy proving yourself to people whose opinions don't build your legacy. Because here's what winners know. Most people aren't judging you. They're projecting on you. And the moment you take their words as truth, you've given them control. But control is not something you give away. Control is something you take back. You reclaim it by choosing peace over pettiness, discipline over drama, purpose over reaction. You don't rise by reacting. You rise by deciding, I will not let small things steal big moments. Read that again. Every time you let someone's comment derail your day, you are trading your power for their weakness. Every time you let anxiety decide your next move, you are placing your future in the hands of fear. But you were not born to be ruled by emotion. You were born to direct it, to channel it, to use it as fuel, not fire. Emotions aren't the enemy. Uncontrolled emotion is. It's time to flip the script, from reaction to intention, from emotional chaos to internal command. Because your mind isn't a playground. It's a weapon. And if you don't learn to master it, someone else will. Think of the strongest people you admire. They don't flinch. They don't panic. They don't give energy to nonsense. Why? Because they've trained for the moment. Because they understand. Silence isn't weakness. It's power under control. They know the value of walking away. They know the value of not responding. They know that staying calm in chaos is a flex most people will never master. You want to be unstoppable? Start here. Start with your mindset. Start with how you respond to resistance. Start with how you handle pressure, criticism, and fear. Because every time you respond from stillness instead of rage, you build mental muscle. And every rep makes you stronger. The goal isn't to become cold. The goal is to become calculated. The goal is to choose response over reaction so often that calm becomes your default setting. Because the one who stays calm, the one who stays grounded, that person wins every time. No outburst can match stillness. No tantrum can beat strategy. And no amount of noise can shake someone who knows exactly who they are. So next time chaos comes knocking, don't open the door. Don't invite it in. Smile, step aside, and keep moving. Let them guess what's going on in your head. Let them wonder how you stay composed. That mystery, that silence, that's your edge. Because when nothing rattles you, when nothing breaks your rhythm, you become a force. And forces don't explain. They just move. Pressure will introduce you to yourself. Not the version you show the world. Not the version that smiles when it's easy, but the real you. The one who shows up when everything goes wrong. And that version, it better be ready, because life doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your response. You see, most people fold under pressure because they've never trained for it. They've built comfort, not capacity. They've built excuses, not endurance. They've learned to react, not to rise. But the ones who make history, the ones who defy the odds, they were forged in fire, not because they avoided pain, but because they leaned into it. They understood something most never will. Discomfort is the doorway. You want a different life? You want unshakable confidence, bulletproof discipline, a future that no one can take from you? Then stop dodging discomfort. Start dominating it. Because every time you choose the hard path, every time you walk into the storm instead of running from it, you are proving to yourself, I was made for this. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from affirmations, not from hype, but from evidence. From the silent proof that you show up no matter what. You want to silence fear? Stack proof. You want to shut down doubt? Stack proof. You want to kill hesitation forever? Stack the proof. Because when pressure hits, the brain doesn't rise to the occasion. It falls to the level of preparation. So train like the storm is coming, because it is. Train your mind to stay calm when it hurts. Train your focus to stay locked in when the world is screaming for your attention. Train your spirit to remain grounded when everything tries to knock you off balance. And the moment will come. The chaos will arrive. And while everyone else panics, you execute. Not because you're fearless, but because you're trained. Understand this. Control doesn't start with the world. It starts with you. How you speak to yourself when you fail. How you carry yourself when you're doubted. How you show up when no one is watching. That's where domination begins. Forget motivation. Forget inspiration. Those are nice, but they're fleeting. You need something deeper. You need a code, a standard that doesn't move with your mood, a mindset that doesn't break under pressure, a vision so powerful it drags you through doubt, through pain, through exhaustion, and into greatness. This is what the average will never understand. They wait until they feel like it. They chase convenience. They pray for easy. But you don't need easy. You need purpose. You don't run from challenge. You look it in the eye and say, I've been waiting for you. Because every test is a tool. Every setback is a setup. Every obstacle is a new layer of armor. You want mental toughness? Then stop asking for life to be gentle. Ask for strength to endure it. Ask for the mindset to master it. Ask for the clarity to outlast it. And don't just ask, become. Become the person who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, who doesn't fear the fire because they are the fire. That's the level. That's the mindset. And once you operate from this place, nothing, no comment, no setback, no delay can take you out of your lane. Because you've already decided, this is who I am now. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, always. And when you get there, when nothing outside of you can control what's inside of you, you don't just win, you dominate. Success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most relentless. You can be smart, you can be gifted, but if you're not consistent, it means nothing. Because potential without discipline is a lie you tell yourself to feel better about standing still. Understand this. The world doesn't reward your dreams. It rewards your patterns. And if your pattern is start strong, fade fast, if your pattern is talk big, act small, then your results will reflect that. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's the grind, the daily war between who you are and who you're becoming. And every time you choose effort over excuses, every time you do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, you're proving that you're not here to participate. You're here to dominate. You want to know who wins? Not the loudest, not the flashiest, the one who shows up every single day, no matter what. Because consistency compounds. One day of work becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. And before you know it, you've built momentum so powerful nothing can stop it. You've built proof, you've built identity, you've built a version of yourself that doesn't need motivation anymore because action became the default. That's what winners understand. Discipline is freedom. Routine is power. And boredom, that's where the elite separate themselves. Anyone can grind when it's exciting. Anyone can show up when there's applause. But champions, they train in silence. They master the basics until they become automatic. They repeat the same moves again and again until precision becomes instinct. There's no secret formula. There's no magic pill. Just brutal, boring, ruthless consistency. You don't need more inspiration. You need more reps. Because repetition builds skill. Repetition builds confidence. Repetition builds results. Your brain is always watching you. Every time you show up, you're casting a vote for your future. Every time you execute, you're reinforcing, this is who I am now. And every time you skip, every time you cut corners, every time you lie to yourself, you weaken that identity. So don't let your emotions lead. Let your standards lead. Because if you only work when you feel good, you'll never be great. And if you only chase what's exciting, you'll never build what lasts. You need a mission that's bigger than your mood, a commitment that overrides convenience, a vision so clear that quitting becomes impossible. That's the kind of consistency that creates empires. That's the kind of mindset that breaks records. That's the kind of force the world can't ignore. So from this moment forward, decide. You will be the one who finishes what you start. You will be the one who keeps showing up long after the feeling is gone. You will be the one who builds greatness, one day at a time. Because it's not the big moves that change your life. It's the small ones, done daily. The unglamorous steps taken without applause. The discipline no one sees, but everyone feels in your results. And one day, they'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder how you made it look so easy. But they'll never see the hours, the sacrifice, the sweat behind the scenes. And you won't need to explain. Because your results will speak so loudly the world will have no choice but to listen. There's one skill that separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. Emotional control. Not intelligence, not talent, not even hustle. It's the ability to feel everything and still choose the right response. Because here's the truth. Your emotions are not facts. They're signals. And if you blindly obey them, you'll live a life of chaos. Understand this. Every outburst, every meltdown, every excuse rooted in, I just felt like it, is weakness masquerading as honesty. You don't get to act out and call it authenticity. You don't get to quit and call it self-care. You don't get to lash out and call it passion. If you want to dominate in life, you need to own your emotions, not be owned by them. You want to be a leader, a force, a giant? Then you need to master the pause. That split second between feeling and reacting, that's where your power lives. And the stronger you get at choosing action over impulse, the faster you evolve. Because this is the formula. Feel, pause, choose, execute, not feel, react, regret. The world tests you every single day. You'll be disrespected. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be overlooked. Good. Let it train you. Let it sharpen your edge. Because the moment you stop giving people your buttons to push, you become untouchable. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. And control is where dominance begins. Think of the greats, the ones who changed industries, broke records, built legacies. They weren't reactive. They weren't triggered by every insult. They didn't panic under pressure. They trained their minds to stand still in chaos. Because chaos is only a threat when it pulls you off center, but when you stay rooted, when you operate from clarity, not emotion, you don't just survive, you lead. This is the secret most people never learn. Your emotional reactions are someone else's leverage. When they can make you angry, they win. When they can distract you, they win. When they can break your focus, they own your destiny. So stop handing your power to anyone who knows how to frustrate you. Start seeing every trigger as a test, a chance to grow, a chance to separate yourself. You don't need to respond to everything. Silence is strategy. Stillness is strength. Composure is lethal. You want to shock the world? Stay calm when everyone else is panicking. Smile when they expect rage. Move forward when they hope you fall apart. That's the ultimate flex. So how do you get there? You train it. Every day, you journal, you breathe, you reflect, you create space between emotion and execution. And when you feel yourself slipping, you remind yourself this reaction has a price. Is it worth my progress? Because every emotional slip costs momentum, and momentum is everything. You don't need to feel perfect. You need to move regardless. That's what separates players from legends. Emotional discipline is how you stay dangerous, how you stay focused, how you stay unstoppable. And the more you master it, the less life can shake you. People will test you. Life will test you. But your power, that comes from responding with purpose, not emotion. Stay grounded. Stay lethal, and let your calm become your chaos for the world. Because once you learn to sit with discomfort without losing your center, you become invincible.